Welcome back to another episode of The Money Mentor with Graham Home, and we are back into the very interesting, exciting, and slightly financially arousing Changing Lives Financially episode. And this morning, I want to welcome to you Brendon and Matt. How are we?
Good. How are you?
So good it hurts. I'm in agony. No, I'm good. You both well?
Yep, doing pretty good.
Pretty
You're
good.
doing 75 hard at the moment, aren't you?
I am. It's getting hard. I have what they call a labral tear.
Okay.
Basically, I tore my groin.
Oh,
Yeah.
ouch.
Yeah, so I had to have an MRI. It's been a bit interesting at the moment. So I'm struggling through. So
Feel ya.
we'll see how we go. So no 75 hard for you at the moment?
No.
We've done it before, though.
Yes.
It's fucking hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
In the name.
It's hard. I've never peed so much in my life. So, all right, let's rip in. Talk to everybody at home, because it doesn't get realer than this, right? So talk to everyone at home. What year did you come to Infinity?
Yep. So, Infinity, we did the masterclass November 22.
Yep.
And obviously done the podcast, the free podcast prior to that. And yeah, so we just joined up pretty much straight after November.
So late 2022.
Yep.
Explain for me, but for everyone at home as well that hasn't met you before, what was life like pre-Infinity? What were you doing for work? What were your finances? Who's the Minister for Finances here?
Well, I sort of am the finance guru.
Okay.
Yep. So,
Hey, I'm the finance guru.
sorry.
No. Come on. You're almost a finance guru now.
Well, at least in our household.
Well said.
Yeah, so before Infinity, we were renting, before we even purchased our house, we were renting. We'd only just met while we were renting, and we basically travelled to Europe.
Okay.
Spent a lot of our money there, as you do, save up a bit.
So traveling a lot,
Travelling a lot, we like
spending
to get
a
away.
lot,
Spending a lot,
renting.
renting as
Any
well.
debts?
I did have quite a bit of credit card debt.
Yes.
And it was something that just kept rolling on, and probably how I got to being in better and better jobs, because I need a promotion to keep up with these repayments.
Right. So you're chasing the debt trap, or hang on, 6 to 1, half a dozen. Were you earning more income to cover the debt, or as you were generating more income, your debt was increasing in line with, I earn more, I'll spend more?
Correct.
Because that's quite a common occurrence for people that they get you study, you work hard, you get a promotion. You
I deserve it.
Yeah, I deserve it. A new suit or new clothes or new weekend away.
Yep.
So the debt kind of creeps. We tend to sort of spend in line with our income. Is that a fair?
Used to.
Used to. I like that. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So how much credit card debt?
At one point, it was about $60,000.
Jeez.
Because those dogs just kept following me for more snacks.
All right, no more puppies. Okay.
No.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay. Do you remember the average interest rate across any of the cards? Were they like 20%, 10%?
I think the worst one was 23%. I don't think any of them were under 20, which is a scary number.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So travel, credit card debt. What else? Renting. Yeah.
It was pre-COVID, so it was about 2016, 2017. So the rental market back then for where we were in Western Australia was pretty good.
Yep.
In fact, we were negotiating rent decreases at that point.
Right. So late teens negotiating rent decreases. Okay. But then 2022, we changed. Yeah. So 2022, we're like, right, something. Were you clearing debt at that point, or still had debt at that point?
So when we got back from Europe, which was 2017, we went on the Bungfoot Investor.
Okay.
And I then dominoed the debts, and that was the first thing that I did. I had to get that out of the way before I could concentrate on any future steps after that.
Okay.
Brendon always had a great money habit of going, I want to have this minimum in savings. I want to have 10K in savings. Got there. I want to have 20K in savings.
Yeah,
So saver, spender.
Yeah, because I didn't have
Asset,
credit cards.
liability.
Yeah, I didn't have.
As in Bex says, I'm the liability and she's the asset.
Yeah, because I didn't have credit cards before Matt. So if I couldn't buy it. If I didn't have the cash for it, I just didn't buy it.
Right.
Now it's because I couldn't get credit. So
Because you couldn't get credit.
that's right. I was in a part-9 debt agreement.
Right.
So just if
So
I had the cash,
okay, that's interesting. So using debt at the moment, had used debt ineffectively,
Yep.
got in the shit with it.
yep,
So then flipped the switch the opposite way to be like scared shitless of debt, never going back there.
yep,
But then you're like, it's fine. Put it on the card. We deserve it, babe. Do you know what I mean? Like?
yep.
Yeah.
How does that dynamic work in a relationship day to day? Because that's quite conflicting. You're in a position where you've come from, right? But you're petrified of it because obviously you can't go back there,
Well,
really.
yes.
But in the same token, now you're like, it's fine. Put it on the card. How does that dynamic operate day to day? Because everyone listening in at home, right? We've all got shit going on,
Yeah.
and we all got So I think it really helps people to talk openly about it and go, yeah, well, no, this just worked, and no, this didn't work at all. Talk about that dynamic for people at home.
So I would be the one that sort of goes, oh, we need this thing, we need that thing. And no, it's now that we need it.
Just
Want
buy
or
it.
need?
Probably a little bit of both.
We need
want.
what I want.
Yeah.
We want, I want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was a bit of friction, sort of like there would be some back and forth about do we get it now or later, or I'll just go out and buy it. Because we were separate bank accounts at that point as well. So what I was bringing in wasn't necessarily seen.
I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So when did we merge finances and banking?
That was when we moved into our house, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, when we built our property.
Okay.
Because it was just easier to manage. Like you'd still get your wage in your bank account and then you'd flip it over. So it was still sort of separated. And I think maybe then with Infinity, we've really merged them. It's like...
Okay. 2018 we purchased the home together, and 2022 we came to Infinity.
Yep.
How much was the mortgage when you first bought the home, roughly, give or take, in 2018?
It was about 480.
480. Okay.
Yep.
And what is it today?
It's sitting at
145.
Pardon?
145.
145.
So 2018, 480.
Yep.
Do you remember when we started and we restructured how much it was? Was it 440?
384, I think.
384. Okay,
Yep.
good. So you knocked about 100 off in 4 years. So you're actually doing pretty well. You're attacking it pretty aggressively.
Yep.
So 480 2018, 380 2022. So we started with about 380 odd in 2022, and today it's what?
145.
145.
Yep.
Look alive. Okay,
Yep.
145.
And we want that done in the next 2 years, so it's closed out in under 10.
Okay. So let's talk about that then. How is there such a shift of chipped away, chipped away, chipped away? We're being quite aggressive, but in the last 2 or 3 years, you've done $200,000, whereas in the prior 4 years, you've done $100,000. So you've done twice as much in less time. How does that make sense?
Budget. FFF.
And I think just having a focus on it and just being like, oh, we've got this, like it's a challenge and you just want to bust it and win it. The whole relationship with the debt that we had before and it being around, it's just something that you live with.
Yeah.
Now that that's all gone and we're actually able to move financially and succeed, that whole success mentality just drives you to just do even more and be more conscientious, and those little habits have all dropped away.
Okay. What little habits have dropped away? Bad habits, I'm assuming?
Well, going and buying at lunch, for instance,
Yeah.
or just being a little bit sort of flippant and not double questioning things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say, so for those at home as well, FFF is food, fuel and fun, or I call it FFFF, which is food, fuel, fun and fetishes if you're interested. Depends if you have a bit of fun in life, but I like the 4 Fs instead of the 3. Sounds a bit sexier as well. But so what is your FFF or FFFF at the moment? What is that at the moment?
That's sitting at 430.
So $4.30 a week for food, fuel and fun.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And how much was it when you started late 22, early 23? Because really you would have started like early 23 with us almost.
It hasn't changed since we started.
Stayed 430.
Yep.
Yep.
But the cost of living increases and inflation.
Yeah.
No?
Well, just find smarter ways of purchasing, like going to different shops. Like we used to always shop at a certain grocery store. Now we'll shop around a bit more.
So tell me, for those at home then, what's your 430? Give us a bit of a breakdown. Are you managing it jointly? Are one of you more meticulous and fastidious with it? Like, is there, right, $200 for food? And how do you break it down at the moment? How do you operate that together?
We run a pretty standard sort of menu for food throughout the week. So we know what our shopping list is before we even go in there. We still take a shopping list to keep us on track. But I know I put $50 of diesel in the car every week.
Okay.
Don't necessarily wait for cheap day. It's just whenever it is, but I put 50 in. So that way I'm not going 2 weeks and then having to hit $100 or $150 on the account. Just sort of keep it ticking over. We've sort of found that sweet spot of that nice rhythm where we go, that's predictable, that's predictable, that's predictable.
Well, most of what we're doing every day in that food, it's quite predictable. Right? People go, unexpected. Well, everything's expected. It's predictable. You need to put fuel or diesel in the car. You need to eat. They're fairly monotonous, frequent events. So, so put the diesel in, $50. Groceries?
Groceries will just, they'll get done on Saturday. So basically, the FFF comes in on Thursday.
Yep.
So, fuel goes in, groceries get done, and then whatever's left over, then that's sort of what you can sort of play with.
Coffee, snacks, lunch.
The incidentals.
Going out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and you guys did 75 hard as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're definitely going to put an image up here because we've got you in your, I'm sure we've got you in your tidy whities or something here. How did we find 75 hard? Was it hard?
It was hard.
Fucking hard or hard?
It was ridiculous. I was working full time, studying part time, and then you wanted me to do 75 hard as well?
Well, I just suggested it was worth a shot, right?
It was definitely worth it.
Okay.
Lost 13 kilos myself.
I was about to ask.
Yeah. I lost 11, 12 kilos.
Wow.
Yep.
And been able to keep it off?
No.
Some of it?
Back. I've got to do it again.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, we're also relaunching 60 Strong. So watch that space. We're relaunching a new version of 60 Strong because we found 75 hard too fucking hard for some people.
Yeah.
So there's a new 60 Strong launching again on the app. I'll share with you later. But talk through that. Did that help or hinder the day-to-day relationship, career, friendships, financial? How did it affect negative and positive day-to-day for you guys?
So I think it helped as well because it really gave us, we didn't really have like set menus. We were eating pretty bad food, to be honest. And now, we're still eating the same food that we were on 75 hard.
Right.
So, you're eating your chicken, your vegetables, so you're getting all those proper foods into you.
So you've kept some of the habits around meal prepping, eating cleaner, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Just maybe the exercise.
But, we'll throw some pizza in there and, a bit of KFC, a bit of Dirty Bird.
Can't stand Dirty Bird. But definitely drop the water. I couldn't keep that up. That was
feel
too
like
much.
a pregnant woman all day. Yeah. Okay. So how hard was it?
I face planted a couple of times because I'd go walking at night after I'd finished work, got home, had dinner, and then I'd go and do my 45-minute outdoor.
Yep.
And the lighting's not great around our area, and literally tripped over my own feet and straight on the ground. Yes.
Yep. Been there, done that. Okay.
But I found, because I'm normally an evening workout kind of person, so my day would start really early to get the first one in, then all the way through to nighttime to get that
the
last
long
one.
days, right? And getting the water in and reading and
Yeah.
Worth it or not worth it? Any learnings from it? Any mental barriers you had to come across or challenges or?
It was definitely worth it. Like, otherwise we'll just continue heading down the same track of, eating bad food, gaining weight.
Yep.
I think it gave me appreciation as well, like to get back out there and exercise.
Did it give any structure to spending as well? Because a lot of people say to me, well, because it was so regimented and we had to eat clean and we couldn't have alcohol, kind of makes the spending pretty simple, right?
That sort of discipline has certainly carried on. Shopping on a Saturday, we always just do that now. We don't go during the week, so we don't end up dipping into the account or buying this extra thing at the checkout.
And so you're not going to the cafe for smashed avo and pomegranate and
No,
and
buy the avocado
mocha
and make it
chocolate
at home.
lattes on the Saturday morning. You're actually doing the grocery shop on the Saturday morning together.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've maintained all that's good. Okay. Yeah. Now let's talk about where we were. So 380 odd thousand. So we've done some health and fitness. We've done some budget. We've done some structure. We've gone from 380 odd to 180 odd in really 2.5 years, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Roughly, give or take. So November this year, we could call it 3 years.
Yep.
So we've smacked 200 grand of debt down in 2.5 years. Any investing at all?
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. You sound a bit excited there. Okay. A little bit of investing.
Yeah.
What have we invested in?
Several properties for yourselves here.
Okay.
Yep.
So some in our self-managed super fund.
Yep.
Some outside of that.
What made you set up a self-managed? Well, actually, firstly, how many properties today?
So we've got 6 investments.
6 investments plus the family home.
Yep.
Home owed 380. It now only owes 180. So 7 properties in total.
Yep.
And we're probably we will own the home in the next 1.5 to 2 years. The 180 will be gone.
They'll be gone.
Based on historic performance.
Yep.
And then we're going to move on and attack the other 6 properties. But so how does that feel coming out? So 7 with the home, 6 new properties in 2.5 years.
It's unreal. It's like, I just can't believe, like, what happened, how? Like
Why had you not gone and bought 2 or 3 or 6 properties prior to being here?
That's how we come to find you in the first place. Because
Right.
we had $100,000 sitting in our redraw.
Right.
And we're like, well, we're building up all this money. We're paying down our house. That
Yep.
100,000 was offsetting the interest. So
Yep.
kind of doing the waterfall thing already.
Yep.
And we'd had a chat with a broker. And he was like, oh, send us your paperwork. Didn't really follow up too much. And we're like, not getting a good vibe here.
Yep.
He wasn't really chasing us, but probably a good thing.
Yep.
So we were like, this is what we want to do, just don't know how to do it.
Yep.
And Brendon obviously was looking on Facebook, and that's when he came across the webinar, and
Yep.
I was like, oh, Facebook scam.
Facebook scam.
So I was
You're
the
a very
skeptic.
big skeptic.
Negative Nancy over here.
Yeah.
Well, my mum had been caught a few times by things
Right.
on Facebook,
Fair
so
enough.
that's why I was apprehensive. But did the weekend
Glad you think of your
masterclass.
mother, but yes.
So to have seen it,
Oh, that was great. Sorry, keep going. That was hilarious.
so to have seen it through the masterclass, I was going, this is so doable.
Yeah.
But when it started happening,
We're just watching me yell at everybody all weekend.
oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah, that's the best part of it.
I try to be really calm these days.
So we're sort of going, oh yeah, that's going to be possible. We didn't realize how possible.
Right.
So we're still pinching ourselves now.
Okay. 6 property. Yeah, it's a pinch me moment. So what else is happening? Studying again as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so Matt's studying. I finished studying when we signed up to Infinity.
Yep.
So I just finished my university, which was good.
And you're on like year 298 of study, right?
Yeah.
What year are you on now?
So I'm doing Masters of Clinical Social Work.
Okay.
So I'm probably halfway through the first year of that. I'm
Okay.
doing it part-time so I can fit it with work.
So it's going to take a while, 3-4 years or something?
Yeah, probably about another 3 years.
Okay. Oh, good on you. And why the continuing learning and study? For career progression, mastering things?
Well, my career's in health.
Yep.
And I started off biomedicine and genetics.
Yep.
Didn't quite make it with that. Then I went and did health information management, another little health thing. But I really like what I do with our mental health patients. So
Okay.
I wanted to do something where I could be more hands-on with people.
Right. Okay. Well done.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Okay. You're going to keep studying after that part?
I might do a PhD.
Oh, wow. All right. Massive underachiever.
Yeah.
Lifelong learning.
Yeah, okay. All right. Interesting. Lifelong learning. Share some. Let's go back for a second. You said you got some property in self-managed super. Why self-managed super? Why was that enticing to you? I'm assuming prior to that you had your very standardy sort of industry or
C-bus.
employment funds, right?
Yeah.
How were they performing? Because obviously you made a decision to change and got some advice. Why the change there?
I'd already set up a self-managed super fund that went nowhere.
Yep.
Right.
So I already had an understanding of what a self-managed super fund to buy a property as that, but I had a lot of winding up of that to do before we could start one together.
Okay,
So I still had my industry super fund,
Yep.
but realized because this is the savings for the end of my life, I need to do the best I can with it.
Yep.
But again, didn't know how to do it.
Okay.
Knew what I wanted, but didn't know how
So
to get
you'd
there.
previously been given some advice, had a self-managed super fund, wasn't doing much with it, plus had your normal day-to-day industry sort of fund,
Yep.
had your normal standard industry fund. So you had to tidy that up, get some new advice jointly, come together, create a new joint self-managed super fund, and you've put direct real estate into that super fund.
Yes.
Residential or commercial?
Residential.
Okay. And what's the thought process there?
Well, I think, you know, if I'm just sitting there with 100,000, say, in my super, I'm only making a profit or growth off that 100,000.
Right.
So
Yep.
with the property, and we leverage the value of the property, I'm growing on the capital growth on, say, $500,000 instead of a...
Well, that's a really good point. So let's use, we'll use that example, right? $100,000 in super. Let's say property and shares do the same thing. $100,000 in super, you earn 10%. You
Yep.
earn 10 grand. Woo! Yeah. $100,000 is a 20% deposit on a $500,000 property if you could find one for $500,000.
Yep.
Get the same return, 10%, you make 50.
Okay.
You make 10 or you make 50.
Which one do you prefer?
Well, I'd take
Yeah,
the extra
yeah.
40, right? It's not a very difficult question, is it?
That's right.
So is that was the thought process? So one, leverage obviously
Yep.
for a greater potential return. Okay, and so was that the main driving factor there? Was to build stronger, faster, hopefully.
Definitely to get that capital growth, but also don't forget we've got some diversification in there as well. So we've still got exposure to shares.
Okay.
Yep.
And we're looking at other things like maybe commodities or even toying with the idea of setting up a business in there.
Okay.
Because yes, properties are great, but I don't want to have all my eggs in the one basket either.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
Good. Excellent. So where to from here? 7 properties, including the home. Okay. Some in super, some personally. Home's going to be paid off in the next year and a half, 2 years.
Yep.
Where to from here?
I think just keep growing aggressively the portfolio, just to set ourselves up for the future, for retirement. So,
Sky's the limit. We're shooting for the stars.
Okay. What advice would you give anybody tuning into this for the first time, or they've, Facebook scam, Insta this, YouTube that, you know, typically one person finds it, they consume a bit and go, fuck, they're either the best paid actors on the planet or this shit's real. Then they can see you, right? Because you're commenting and tagging it. Oh, these real people. What guidance would you give to people at home that you've learnt along the way, even just for free without becoming a client? Because I'm terribly difficult to be able to work with anyway. What advice would you give them and some practical tips and steps besides, you know, free webinars, books, podcasts? What are some things you've learned along the way that you think you could share now with people to go, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to explore this? What are some of the tips you could give them?
Suspend your disbelief and all of your preconceived notions. Be prepared to set them aside and actually listen to what's being said to you.
Not from the barbecue mafia.
Oh no.
not from Toothless
Toothless Timmy needs to go to the dentist.
Well, Toothless Timmy's about to be on socials, isn't he?
Oh,
He
yeah.
is. I can't wait.
I can't wait to see you in that mullet.
I was way too comfortable. There was no script required. I was extremely comfortable. The mullet nearly matched the freckles. It was all happening.
Method acting.
Oh yeah, it was a bit Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights coming out. So, okay, so that's an important one. Like, really, just completely put a wall up and stop thinking you know what you know, right? And stop that. Stop, drop, and roll, and actually then receive some new information. Because we're all got this preconception. It's like mum and dad said this, or Conbank, you know, Dolomites to death with Conbank.
Yep.
So that's a really good one. So stop what you think you know and be prepared to listen to some new information, yeah?
That's right. Listen to the professional.
Okay.
Like, I know what I know, Matt knows what he knows, you guys know what you know. Like, I wasn't that great with money, obviously, from the beginning, and learnt along the way, but come to the professional for advice.
Okay. Any other tips or practical steps in there? So I think that's an important one is don't think you know, because you wouldn't be tuning into something if you did.
Yep.
Yeah. We all like to think we're pretty. No one wants to feel silly, right? But there are experts out there. So that's a really important one. So try to receive new information. What other tips would you give people?
Just cut back as well. Like, you don't need, like, to me, I don't get coffees. I have the coffee at work, make your lunch. Everything's just, to me, so expensive these days out there as well. So you can always find cutbacks elsewhere as well.
Okay.
I'd also talk often. So you're always reaffirming your why, or keeping each other calibrated as to why are we doing this. Because you're going to invariably go through those times where it's just like, oh, I just want to break away and enjoy
We
some of those
deserve it.
old habits.
Yeah.
So having each other to sort of keep you on track and reminding us why we're doing all of
So
this
how often do you talk financial?
daily.
Yep.
Daily. I call it a financial flirt, right? So how you're having a daily financial flirt now. Hey, what about this? What about that? How often was it prior to us working together?
Oh, not
Once a
really.
week.
Yeah. Wasn't much.
Or would it only come up when you wanted to spend or you had to pay? Like, hey, we need this, or we need that, or oh shit, we've got to pay for this. Was it more reactive, whereas now it's daily? For like a financial flirt's probably like a daily thing now. We're like, hey, we should do this. Oh, hey, how we go? It's become almost habitual daily by the sounds of it. Yeah. Before, was it more reactive than proactive? Like it only come up because it had to, or there was an urge, or...
Well, that's right. It would, because when you had separate bank accounts, be like, oh, the rates came in or something like that. It's like, hey, transfer this over, move this. So that's when you'd sort of talk about it and would just be spending. But now it's like, hey, look how much the mortgage has gone down. Like, look at this. Look how much that's grown.
Now, given this is going to come to air in June, right? Mm-hmm. I think that we should do a round 2 in December, get you back in, and sit down. And so what's the balance today, did we say? 100 and...
140.
It's 140.
Oh, 140, not 180, sorry.
It's 180 without the redraw, but with the redraw, it's...
Oh, the balance is actually only 140 odd.
Yeah.
Oh, my mistake. Excuse fucking me. Okay. 140 odd. So I think we should get you back in 6 months' time to sit down and see how aggressive, or put the challenge, put the pedal to the metal, see what we can get by December. What do you reckon?
Properties or balance, or both?
Oh, both.
Both.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not be a basic bitch.
Yeah,
Like, let's have a crack at both. So we've got 6 investments.
Yep.
We've got 140 showing on the loan.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is June. So by December, what's the prediction? Can we add another property?
One.
Hey, don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Again, we just know the way is up. How steep that angle is, don't know yet.
Yeah.
We'll check back in December.
We'll check back in December. Okay, we're going to do a round 2. Let's see, where do you think we can get the debt to? The 140.
Oh, it'd be nice to...
In 6
it would be
months.
5 figures.
Yeah, I think it would be hanging around the 100K.
Do you reckon we can crack the 100
Let's do it.
in 6 months?
I think we could, yeah.
40 something grand off?
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
All right,
Maybe we can do
well,
more.
it's out there now.
Yep.
It's out in the Insta space face, my place, your face. It's out there. Everyone's heard it. It's on YouTube. We're going to have a crack at over 40 grand in the next 6 months, and at least add a property or 2.
Yeah.
Maybe some more shares. Fuck, I don't know. Whatever floats your boat, right? Okay.
Sounds good.
Watch this space. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you. And we're going to do a round 2. In round 2, we're going to get into the detail. We're going to get into the balance. We might even pop up some show notes in the next session, but we'll show you open balance, closed balance, if you're comfortable with that.
Yep.
And we'll actually validate these numbers for the skeptics, because if one family sitting at home listen or watch this and go, oh shit, that's real, and they go and have a crack even on their own, they're going to be in a better position, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
So appreciate your honesty. It's always fun. But I'm really, really looking forward to December. Now, before I thank you, gentlemen, and we wrap up today, have you got any questions for me?
I've got a couple.
Oh, do tell. All right, this will be good.
So earlier you were saying what beliefs have changed. What I would like to know from you, because you've moved from knowledge to wisdom, like you are the money mentor. What big things have you had to change in your way of thinking? Like, what ideas have you had to completely break down and rebuild?
Good question. the number one thing that I really, really had to break down, and this was actually harder for Beck than it was for me, was the "I'll never sell." I actually I really struggled with that because married, divorced. Beck took me at my absolute lowest. I was the hot mess express when Beck picked me up off the ground. So that was really hard that we were building again, deposit on a little 1-bedroom unit and villa and another one and building and building. But then we hit a serviceability cap because we started our own business. Most businesses run at a loss for the first couple of financial years or forever because our accountant says that you want to save on tax and be broke forever, right? So that was really hard because we'd hit a serviceability cap, first couple of years in business, loved writing everything off. So the banks are like, well, you don't earn enough, or you could have a low doc, no doc loan that's really expensive. So a big turning point for us. And this is where our real true wealth started to come from and culminate, was 2019. I'd done the, I think it was the National Achievers Tour, Congress, and Richard Brandt, a couple of big speaking tours. And it was during that the banks kept saying no. So I was like, shit. And then I ran my own numbers, being me, and I'm running the service. I'm like, hang on, if I sell that asset and then recalculate our capacity, I actually have a much stronger capacity because I've liquidated debt. And I took out 2 of the assets that had really low performing yields, all of the things I look for in an investment that I teach, the depreciation, the deductions, the capital, the year, all of those things combined, I was able to ascertain a couple of investments that had done well, but they weren't, they were sort of holding us back, not helping us forward.
Yeah.
Beck and I have never had an argument ever, but we debate. She happens to be the captain of the debate team. This is the only debate I have ever won, ever. And I'll never forget, I was on stage, the Sofitel, Brisbane, 2019, and I'd put this little PowerPoint together because I'd cracked the code. And when we were having these discussions, Beck wasn't listening to me. She was like, we're not selling, you don't sell, right? So I put together a little PowerPoint and I seen her walk in the back of the room. It was day 2. Seen her come in after doc in the morning. I'm like, change the slides, please, guys. And change the slides. And I started going through it, but I was watching her. I was literally presenting to her.
Yeah.
Not the 400-500 in the room. And I was watching her at the back of the room. And I could see her processing. She ended up getting on the mic and she's like, all right, you win. The numbers, done, we're selling.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. So, but it was in that, us having that financial flow of conversation at home wasn't working, wasn't computing. We'd worked really hard to get where we were. There's no way we were selling anything. Once I'd put it together and done that little PowerPoint, everyone in the room was like, oh, wow, now he's saying, like, sell that dog, sell that dog, can I pat that dog? So that was huge. To overcome that even for me, it was really, really hard. Once I'd overcome it myself with math and I sort of stumbled into it really of why can't I have more? Well, I've hit a ceiling. The bank said no. How do I fix that? It also then culminated, when you're talking about becoming a sophisticated investor, that culminated then going, well, hang on a minute. If I start doing that, there are a couple of lenders out there that go, well, if Graham sells 2 properties a year and they make $500,000 each, if he can do that year on year, that becomes an income stream. He's a proven investor. So that was the biggest one. So now our tax returns show astronomical numbers every year because we're always selling and we're always buying. I'm a buyer and a seller. I'm not just a buyer and a holder, and I'm not just an investor. I'm a buyer, I'm a seller. So, and also we're getting that 50% CGT discount. So where can half of your income, millions of dollars a year, be free of any tax? Only in that CGT discount. I got to work and pay tax on my income. So that was probably the biggest obstacle for us to overcome. We did that in 2019, and it's just to infinity and beyond. Pardon the pun, but to infinity and beyond.
But it would have been pretty uncomfortable facing that long-held belief.
Oh, it was a mental head fuck.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental head fuck. Like, to actually have to, and I'd bought my first property at like 21, and I thought that property doubled every 7 years. I was the local bank manager. I know everything. And I'd sold it after 7.5 years before I got my first marriage to pay for the wedding. And it's because I had it for like 7.5 years and it didn't go up, and I sold it for like 10 grand more than I paid for it. Now that property I paid like 355, 750 for. I then sold it for like 360, 365, paid the agent, but I had heaps of equity, right?
Yeah.
But in that sale, I'm like, oh yeah, 360 something. Today it's worth $1 million. So it's tripled in value. Mind you, it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one. I didn't realize it was 7% per annum year on year for 10 years. I thought it was every 7 years. It's been more than 7 years. Made no money. I fucked up. See you later. But then shortly thereafter, that had obviously gone up a fair bit in value.
Yeah.
Like very shortly, like 2-3 years later, I looked it up one day and went, oh no. So that was really hard because I had let go of something and then realized very shortly thereafter I shouldn't have. So it was a big mental block.
Yeah.
But the numbers set us free. So that's probably the biggest one. Anything else?
Yeah. So we're 2025 here now.
Yep.
Obviously, your marketing team are doing a little bit with AI. Where do you see AI in this space going to? Where do you personally see it having applicability?
Yeah, the team, they do, like, there's certain things they're testing and playing with AI. I'm not a big fan. Like, I'm not usually an early adopter of anything. Like, for example, I posted about NFTs the other day. I mean,
How did that go?
where are they? Do you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, crypto, NFT, there's always something that's cutting edge out there. I always revert back to the utility. So like i.e. with NFTs, they started attaching utility. So it was a ticket for this or ownership of that, etc. But again, they've kind of just fizzled out like a fart. It's just gone, right? So AI, I think, absolutely has its place. I think it's going to do wild things in the future. People are already losing jobs. Coders fired, AI can do it, right? Legal work. You can get more accurate legal work from AI than physical lawyers. They hate me saying that, right? Same medical. Lots of things. Now, again, I'm not telling everyone to rush out and Dr. Google or ChatGPT their cold, their sniffle, or their medical issue, but I think that it definitely will have a place in certain areas and aspects. Even in the finance industry, I think that brokers will absolutely, a lot of our industry will become redundant. I mean, half of them are already. Because it will be able to diagnose product features, tick and flick. It already does, okay? So there's a lot of brokerage firms out there using it, but it will never correlate to the investment space.
No.
So when you combine a holistic transformational service offering, not a transactional offering, it has its place, but it can't put into practice. It's got the theory, but the practice of actual things I've bought, sold, our team members bought, sold, loans that apply today that then very quickly something else enters the market and you need to move from that to that and for reasons or whatever they may be. So it definitely has a place. I'm still a bit old school. I still like that people can pick up the phone and all our team have mobile phones and that sort of jazz. So I think it's a bit of a watch this space. Yeah, I think it's going to take a lot of jobs away. But I also think that people will absolutely, when managing their money, still value a human level of interaction, care, trust. And I think we have massive tall poppy syndrome in Australia. Very hard to trust a human with your money, scam, rort, this, that, the other, but very hard to trust a robot with your money. I think I would prefer to trust the human and validate with the robot maybe, or trust the robot, validate with a human and explore the points of difference. It's like a doctor. If you go to a doctor today, I've got a sniffle, doc. If you go to 6 different doctors, you're likely to get 6 different diagnoses based on their level of experience, questions they ask, how you answer the question, all of those data inputs, which I think AI can do amazingly well. Whereas the human element, you'll get probably 6 different diagnoses. Some of that will fall on us as the consumer, because you'll say something different to each expert. So it definitely has its place. I'm not inclined to let our team run rampant with too much or rely on it too much. We're still pretty old school, human element, actual experience, actual practice, doing it day to day at scale, bigger than pretty much anyone in Australia. Like I was looking at some numbers yesterday that we'll probably have, 5 of the top 100 brokers in the top 5 to 10 this year, just based on individual volume.
Yeah.
And that's their volume, not the companies that report all the business volume as one person. So I still really value that physical touch, feel, day-to-day experience.
Yeah.
So I don't know, watch this space. It's got a place. I just don't want it to be a big place or space at our place. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good to know.
Yeah. There you go. Anything else? No?
That's it.
Thanks, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yeah, we'll show you how FTP.